Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is Dr. Levi with your show, the Dr. Levi Show. Great stuff lined up for you today. We have on our show someone that's going to be really interesting to talk to, along with his partner, because I met him actually several years ago, and he mentioned to me an idea. And now, by the grace of his hard work and his thinking and his partnership, the idea is now a manifest reality. So, I love talking about the laws of attraction, the laws of manifestation, and of course, success and prosperity. That's a part of my cellular DNA, and I hope it's a part of yours. So, I can't wait to bring both Nick and Kate on today because we're going to speak to them. Now, before I bring them on, I want to say, today being April 11th, imagine 4 months almost of this year, 2011, has passed. I want you to really take a self assessment and ask yourself, have you really accomplished what you want to accomplish? Are you really living your best authentic you? Are you doing the best thing that you can to make your dreams come true? Or are you simply talking about it? Because don't forget, when you're talking about things like that, you're talking a good game to yourself. While you're talking about it, other people are actually doing it. They're making their dreams manifest into reality. So I really hope we all take just some time today to really think about, what are my passions? What am I doing to accomplish them and to be my best self? And what can I do to be better? What are my challenges? What are my weaknesses? We really have to look deep to make those changes. It can't simply be about looking at everyone else, and pointing the finger at them, because when you're pointing one finger at them, you have three pointing at yourself. So you really want to look at yourself and say, okay, how can I be, a better for myself? I'm often in that mode of, how can I be a better Levi? What have I done that wasn't really good? What can I do to be better? And how can I make the changes? And then to implement the change. It's all about implementation, activity, making things happen. Our medical moment today is about focus. When it comes to focus, if you have an idea or if you have a dream about something, you really want to be focused like a laser to make it come true. Now, as you're doing that, you have to think about, life is very dynamic. Life is very malleable. So there are days when you can be focused to get those things done, and other times when life will slap you on the head and say, hey, guess what? You have a christening to go to. Guess what? There's a death in the family. Hey, there's a party that you have to attend. There's a wedding that's out of town, but you have to go. So it will throw you off track a little bit. That's okay. The goal is this. You want to stay on track at least 80+% of the time so you can get your work done. It's like writing a book. When I wrote my first book, I remember thinking one specific thing. And that is, I read a long time ago, and I think it was Michael Crichton who said that when it comes to writing a book, you simply have to do one thing. And then he stopped and he said two things. One, you have to write. And two, if you write one page a day, just one page a day, by the end of the year, you have 300 plus pages, 350, 360 pages. So I've always loved that. So I want to implore you to do the same thing. That if you have a goal, number one, write it down. Number two, write out your plan of attack of how you're going to do that. Your plan of attack is what I call your POA, your plan of action. Write that out, the specifics of what you want to do. Let's say your income is, let's say, $3,000 a month. And in your mind, you've already said that you want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, well, write out your plan of how you will do that honestly and correctly. And I do believe if you have at the forefront of your mind, what can I do to be of greater service to myself and humanity, all the pieces will line up magically and things will happen for you. The right people, the right investors, the right ideas, everything will line up. But you always have to ask yourself, are you living in integrity? You have to ask yourself that question. Are you living in integrity? And also, the goal or dream that you have, is it actually your goal and your dream? Or is it your mom and dad's dream? Or is it a dream that you have to beat out your sister or your brother? Or is it really just about you being of greater service to humanity? So we really have to think about those things and not simply do it out of competition. Because in the end, you take you wherever you go. Nobody else. It's just you. Every day, no matter who you wake up with, in the end, when you're looking in the mirror, you just look at yourself. So you want to make sure that you're looking at someone who's living in an aspect of true authenticity as well as global self-interest with respect to your passion. It has to come from you first. What do you love most? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be to the world? Why are you here? Why were you born? If the universe is so amazingly bold to make simply one of you, that had to be by divine design. It wasn't by mistake. It wasn't by serendipity. It was by truth. So think about that. Are you living in truth? Are you honest? Are you hardworking? Are you trying to get by? Are you trying to scheme on other people? Are you trying to overcharge other people and then get a cut of what you're overcharging? Are you doing things like that? Or are you living in true, authentic, self-interest you? Be focused. Go get it. Make it happen. Be happy and know that every day is a gift. But be focused about what you want to do. So number one, have the idea, the POA, plan of action, do the work, have your strategy, meet the right people, and everything will line up for you. But you have to do the work. Just that simple. Don't rely on anyone else. And remember, when it comes to your expectations, expect a lot from yourself. But as my father said, and I so agree with the statement, is you'll never be disappointed if you have no expectations of other people. Just have expectations about yourself, what you want to do, who you want to be, who are you. Have expectations for yourself, period. Everybody else, they're outside of the circle of you, but you live with you. So I hope that helps you. Now, let's talk about our guest today. Let's talk about the beauty of food, the power of food, the sensuality of food, the health of food, the goodness of food. Let's talk about the bakery truck. So here today on the show, we have Nick and Kate, and I can't wait to introduce you to them because they have a great story. And Nick, whom I've met several times before, I'm meeting Kate today for the first time, which is really wonderful. But I want to have both of them come on to tell you about the bakery truck, and more importantly, I want Nick to talk about this dream that he had and how it manifested from a conversation that he and I had quite a while ago. So welcome, Kate. Welcome, Nick. Happy to have you both on.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Let's talk about the bakery truck. So I want to start with you, Nick. Mm-hmm. So this was an idea that you had, and I want to ask you, what was the nidus of the idea, and what kept you going to make this come true? Because a lot of ideas happen with people, but you had the idea, and now it's reality. The bakery truck is in full blast. It's here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And thank you again for having us on. We're excited to be here.
Yes.
Actually, funny enough, it's great that you're meeting Kate today because the idea initially came from Kate.
Wow, didn't know that.
A long time ago, we used to work at a different bakery together,
yes.
And they were wanting to open a second location, and I didn't think that made sense.
Yes.
Just financially, from a standpoint of, we could do better where we were.
Right.
But if Kate ran all of our marketing.
Yes.
And has a brilliant mind for that. And so when we were discussing the fact that we felt like this decision to open a second location was a little brash,
yeah.
She posited that we should have had a food truck,
mm-hmm.
and that a food truck could so easily just fan out through the city and find where the market was.
Absolutely.
So that we didn't waste time putting up a location that maybe didn't make sense, or
right.
maybe didn't, we didn't have a real following there.
Right. And also to open a new location, especially with a brick and mortar place.
Oh, it's so expensive.
You have to think about, the overhead, the initial investment, the build out,
yes,
the marketing,
yes,
the neighborhood, there's a lot. Oh,
yeah,
the staff.
the staff.
Exactly.
The taxes for the
taxes
staff.
for the staff.
Tax season.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. This is, it's not like, let me just open up a place over there. Yeah. Okay, when I go there, how much money am I taking there initially? And
yes.
then are you able to stay fiscally solvent for the first 9 to 12 months to make it happen?
Right.
You have to have some backup. This is not like, let's just do it.
Yeah. No, it's not. Well, see, so that was what, 5 years ago almost?
Wow.
4 years ago.
Four years ago. I don't know.
At least over 3
life.
for sure.
Over 3 for sure.
Yeah.
Over 3 for sure. And almost a year and a half ago now, almost a year and a half ago, I had someone approach me about, why hadn't I opened my own?
Right.
To speak to like manifestation, to speak to
Absolutely.
like your experience, like why have you not used that to do something of your own?
Right.
And at the time, I initially met that with a laugh. I thought that was kind of a funny, like, okay.
And why did you think it was funny? Because
honestly, it just seemed outside of my possibility. I didn't have that kind of money to do that by myself, and for whatever reason, didn't have any prospect of thinking that other people would be willing to give me the money to do that.
Invest in you.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
In your dream.
So that was an exciting moment, and the person that I was talking to said, like, well, what if I could facilitate it? What if I could find you the money?
Right.
And then it became a real conversation. I said I wanted to step away. I wanted to take time to think about that.
Right.
Since working together, Kate has been a trusted friend and advisor on many subjects.
Yes.
And I went home. I love numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a stats guy.
Right.
So I went home and I started looking at it, and I thought, if somebody else was going to get me this money, could I do this?
Right.
Could I really accomplish this?
Could you do it, and then could you sustain it?
Correct, because it's one thing to open, but is it something to succeed? It's something completely different.
Correct.
And it's hard enough to open a business. It's even harder to succeed.
Absolutely.
So looking at the numbers, looking at the real possibilities, looking at Los Angeles.
Yes. Where's mega truck city? There's trucks for literally everything.
Sure. And that again. So I was looking at it from the perspective of a storefront.
Yes.
And when I looked at a storefront and I thought, honestly, to guarantee a year's worth of good work with a staff, with a build out, with a building. Trying to figure out how to create a customer base out of nowhere.
Right.
That was going to take $500,000,
if not more.
Absolutely. And I just couldn't see the prospect of someone betting enough on me to give me that kind of money.
Right.
So I conveyed that to Kate and, said like, oh, what a great dream. And she went away, I think, to her job at the time. And
I went the next day. I went into work, and I was sitting there, and it was just one of those days where it was just an awful day at work.
Yes.
And I just sat down, and I heard his voice in my head talking about opening up another spot, and I was like, and I grabbed my phone and I texted him, and I was like, "What about a truck?"
What about a truck?
Just like
and that was that idea was something that we had talked about so much years ago of how much easier that would be and how much more financially stable that would be.
Right. And it gives you a lot of flexibility.
Well, because there's so much flexibility, and the overhead, the majority of the overhead is done once you are open.
Right.
And then you're talking about having to make income to sustain, but you're not talking about having to run lights and pay a full staff and
electricity.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Like you're not talking about machinery that's, something breaks and it's a $10,000 fix,
And you have to close for the day.
Right.
Correct.
You have to close down and you can't sell.
Or what about if there's a outage, a power outage, and you have to close down because you're going to lose stuff because it can't be well refrigerated.
Absolutely.
Or you can't run the cashier or slide somebody's card.
Yes.
It's a lot.
We even talked about how in Los Angeles, at least, when it rains, you don't do business as a storefront.
As a storefront. It's no different from a truck.
Absolutely.
So
no different.
For trucks, we just close on the days that it
Absolutely.
rains. And you save all of that product. And you save all of that staff. And
yes.
all
that
hours,
energy.
And all the
and
gas and everything.
And the stress.
Yes,
the stress
you do, because you know
decreased.
from our experience, you know that in a bakery, if it rains that day, unless people have special orders, you're not making money.
Yeah.
Correct.
So why be open?
Aware. Absolutely.
So she says that, she texts me that, and I got so excited, and I start running through those numbers, and I come up with, oh no, this is something we could do.
Right.
This is something we could accomplish.
You
I could convince.
You believe that.
We did. We started to believe in the idea.
Right.
And that set us into, I think, 2 solid months of real planning of, putting together a business model and a deck, which is a digital business plan. I'm sure you know. I'm sure you do. And we got excited. We started to pull all the information from not only bakeries that one or both of us have worked at, but just different places that we've worked. We've both been in management positions. We've both been grunt workers. So I think just finding all of those pieces of, the conversations you have with your coworkers or your friends about like, oh, my job today sucked, and why, and how we could circumvent that, and how we could say, Los Angeles is a place that moves and has a heartbeat, and like it really continues to move with purpose. And we thought like we could do that. We could be a company that made smart choices, that were trying to look out for everyone involved, not only the customer, but the employee.
Absolutely. And
we could say, you know what? We're going to do this a little differently. And if we go out there and something doesn't work, then we're just going to fix that.
Absolutely.
We're going to listen to our demand. We're going to listen to our customer base, because so often as a business, as it grows larger and larger, we forget that the person that got you there is your customer.
Absolutely. They're number one.
They're number one. And in order to be number one as a customer, you have to be the kind of customer that somebody would be number one for.
Absolutely.
But you do have to listen to the customer, and if you start to hear something over and over, you probably should adhere to what you're getting with the feedback.
Because they're telling you that this is either working or it's not working.
Right.
One thing I also love about what both of you are doing and what you said, and I'd like you to comment on this, Kate, is that to me, having a truck business like this, you as employer as well as employee, you have to be rooted and invested in this.
Yes.
And at the same time, you have to make sure that everyone around you is just as invested. So what do you guys talk about to make sure that you stay on track to feel that every day is this really gifted day, that every day is like, okay, great, not I'm going to work, but I'm going to work, I'm going to the truck.
I mean, I have to say, of all the jobs that I've had, this is obviously the easiest to do that with, because it's always different, it's always new, it's always
and
exciting,
it's yours.
and it's mine, and I get to decide how, speaking to the point that Nick was just making, where you have to listen to your customers as former managers, like you have to listen to your employees as well. And a lot of business owners don't do that. A lot of business owners will listen to the customers, but not listen to the employees, even when it's a simple thing as far as, if we moved this over here, it would be easier for us. We could do things faster, and we could service the customers better. And there are a lot of businesses where that kind of stuff just goes unheard.
Absolutely.
And so that was one thing that we always, even when we talk about, in 10 years when we have 50 bakeries around Los Angeles.
Around the world.
Around the world, of course.
I'm gonna
when we're the global
I
bakery truck incorporated.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But even then, like, there needs to be a, monthly check-in with everybody.
Absolutely.
We all constantly, luckily there's 3 of us that run this business, and we're all very, very close, and we all feel very trusting in each other, and we can be very totally honest with each other. Like, I do come home some days and just say, hey, today sucked. Like, I really didn't like where I was. I didn't like, the foot traffic wasn't good. I felt like I was out there too long. I didn't feel supported, all that kind of stuff. And then that stuff immediately gets fixed.
Absolutely.
And I feel so lucky that I have a support group of people that I feel so trusting toward, that I can say anything, and I know that any problem that I have, all I have to do is bring it up, and we'll figure out a way to fix it.
I love that, because that's really a reflection and a narrative of the trust that you have for each other, and above trust, the respect that you have. That if you say something, it's not to be, we'll get to that. But that's, okay, let's talk about that. How can we fix that together as a team? I always think about business as you're basically in a marriage with people, because you will spend more time. Think about it. It's really true. You spend more time with the people that you're in business with than you will with your partner, your spouse, your husband, your wife, because they see you later after the work is done. But that partner that you with, they're seeing you when the work is being done, because you're doing the work.
Well, we're all roommates too, so it's kind of everything.
See,
it's all of it.
That's good also. So
Essentially,
you go home with work and you work with work.
No, it's never like, let's stop talking. It's always just new ideas, and what else can we do? And 4 in the morning, I have an idea.
I gotta tell you, as you guys were talking, whenever I'm on the show, whenever I hear like a catchphrase, I always think about, Tony could tell you, I'm always thinking about the titles of books. And something you said earlier, and I thought, God, that'd be a great title of a book, and that was, What About a Truck?
What about a truck?
Isn't that, I mean, when you said that, I thought, God, I could see that. I could see you guys on the cover with the bakery truck and talking about this story of what it was like to have the nidus of this idea come to fruition. I mean, what about a truck? I mean, I just thought, God, it'd be a perfect book title.
We'll cut you in.
I'll remind you that. I'll remind you. I'll remind you. Absolutely. We got it on tape.
Now,
I think it's really great though that you have this type of camaraderie, but more importantly that you guys are making it through. And I also want to share this with you. Maybe 5-8 years ago, I was talking to friends about doing a truck myself with New Orleans food, as well as with my cousin, Luke. We've talked about it, and then some things worked and some things didn't work, and we thought, to safeguard our family, let's not do it.
Sure.
But we thought about having a New Orleans type based truck, New Orleans based cuisine truck here. But I share that with you because it's great when you can find people that you can really, really work with, because it is a rarity. Yeah. It is not like a common thing just to find someone that you trust, that you want to see every day, and that you like.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It really is. Nick.
Well, it's really funny because I don't think even that we realized this or planned this in any way, but the three of us that own this company and do this company together, we have all we've all worked with one another at a different company.
We all worked
each
together.
Of us. Each pairing has worked together at other companies.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
And now we live together and
so
own a
what
business
are the odds
together.
of that?
Right? It was just very serendipitous that we all kind of, came together.
You got to write about that. What about a truck?
Right.
You got to write about it.
It's not a bad idea.
Because the story is one that even if you had a blog, about it, what about the truck? What about a truck? Because the story is almost magical, the way you tell it, that everything lined up, that you talked, that you worked together, that you actually lived together, and that you get along, and that you like each other. It's different if it's if you're married, well, you can't leave. Well, you could leave, I guess. but hopefully you wouldn't, So when those relationships, right, exactly, right. It's more paperwork, and can be more drama too. So then there's a different type, what I call liability, but here where there is what I call limited liability, because you want to be with each other. You're not tied to be with each other. And if you want to get out, you buy out. You go, thanks, bye. So I think it's great when you have that. The other thing I was going to share with you about a truck, when I did, I'll share with you. I've always thought it'd be great to have a truck because the mobility. One thing about LA, there are festivals every day somewhere in Los Angeles. So if you literally just picked one festival you want to go to twice a week, I think it's just phenomenal. Like the art walk this past weekend here in Los Angeles, which I love. I love going down there for that. I mean, there's something you can go to every day. There's some big marathon, some race, some 5K, some charity event. Everywhere here, Santa Barbara, Palm Springs. There's Ojai, Coachella. There's Burning Man. There's something to go to. So I've always thought a truck gives such extraordinary mobile flexibility geographically, but also scenically, just to go to different places, meet different groups of people. I think you guys are just doing it. I think it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
It really is. What are the challenges that you guys have found in having this type of business? Because there are the ups, but then there's sometimes not necessarily downs, but challenges that you have to work through together. What are some of those?
I think in starting the truck, there's definitely. I wish I could go back and warn myself.
Yes.
That any kind of legal permit or anything to do with the government is going to take you 3 times as long as you think and be twice as expensive as you think.
Yep.
Often.
That is one thing that was the hardest part, was not knowing when you're going to open and feeling like, oh, we're going to open next week.
Right.
And then some permit needs to happen, or you figure out you didn't file something correctly, or that was the biggest drawback, was getting really excited every week and being like, it's going to happen. We're going to have a grand opening, and telling everybody, and then never mind.
Not yet. The great thing about that, though, is just think about how that increases your hyperbolic learning curve about what to do and what not to do. Right. Again, you write a book about it, how to really open a truck. What about a truck? This is about a truck. Right. How to really do that. Because as you guys both know, there was no blueprint for you. No matter how much you read online about it, no matter how much you talk to other people, it's like medicine. Unless you do it, you really don't know what it's about.
Right.
I'll share this with you. When I thought about being a physician, a good friend of mine, and I thought he was such an ass at the time. I did. I told him, I said, I'm really thinking about medical school. I've been thinking about this all my life. And he was a physician, obstetrician gynecologist. And he said, Levi, we've had this conversation about 20 times. Dude, either do it or stop talking about it. And then about a week later, my best friend Sandra Hodge, whom I love like the goddess she is, we were talking, and I said, I'm really thinking about medical school again. She says, okay, why don't you just do it, please? I don't want to hear about it. And I thought, how dare they? But then it was a challenge. So it reminded me, okay, you talk, okay, oh, you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And the medicine, like a food truck, there really no big difference here. People may think is that there's the science, the business, and the work of it, and all of those have to line up. It's not just doing it to be cute.
Yeah,
there's no cuteness
it's not.
in business.
It's
there's no cute.
Yeah.
It's about blood, sweat, tears, and work.
Yeah. Well, and to that end, since January, what would that be? January 2017? Yes, January 2017. We have worked truly every day. There has
you
been.
Have to.
I mean, we have worked, whether it's all day or just in some aspect. We have worked every day for this and toward this,
right.
And that's something that I honestly wasn't prepared mentally for.
Right.
To the understanding that it was going to be an everyday affair. But there's something very rewarding about that.
Oh, definitely. It's not just the finances. It has to be the award of also doing it and seeing what you guys thought about. It's real. I wish I would have been there. I hope you guys have on videotape. The first day you walked up and the truck was there. It was wrapped.
Yeah.
It was there. It was like, oh crap, we are really in this now.
Yeah.
It's not like exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like take the truck back, give us 6 months to think about it.
Yeah.
You are in it.
Yeah.
Now how do we get product going here? Where are we gonna go? What's our first stop?
It's
and
like
where
being a
was
parent, I
it's like
imagine.
being a parent, right?
Oh God,
you
now
gave
what do I do?
you gave birth to this. And now it's okay, now we gotta change the diapers,
take
now we
care of
gotta
it
take
every
care of
day
it
now.
every day. Right. And as you said, think about the sacrifice, if you're in creative arts as an actor or as a finance person, whatever you do, this takes priority. This is not only just paying the bills and sustaining your livelihood. This is you. You're all in.
Yep.
It's serious.
Oh yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah. That's, no.
It's so funny.
Didn't
Kitty.
hit me into
So funny. Where was the first place you guys took the truck out? Did you guys take a spin? See, for me, if I would have gotten it, I would take a spin around the city first. Just say, hey, it's my truck. Hey, everybody.
I remember when I wasn't driving it, Brian was driving it,
Right.
but our business partner Brian was driving it. But I remember when we drove it off the place where we got it wrapped, when it was finally all looked great.
Yes.
And I remember driving behind him and looking at all the people around and being like, look at that.
That's me. Yes. Yes.
And I'd see someone staring on the street corner. I was like, yeah.
Exactly. You guys should
really
videotape that. That's
man.
classic.
Yep.
What about
That's
you,
really
Nick? How was it when you first laid eyes? I was like, ooh, this is it.
Honestly, so we part of what we try to do as a business, we want to work to support other local and small businesses.
Absolutely.
We do that through our product. We do it through our packaging. We do it through just about every aspect. Our mechanic work, everything that we've tried to do. We want to do it through somebody we know or know through someone.
And then all your products, you really get it from locally sourced people here in the area too.
What we do locally sourced fruit.
Great.
And then per the restrictions of our company's dietary needs,
Yes.
we source a lot from Bob's Red Mill. That's a very popular gluten-free carrier.
Yep.
And then from then we go on to our vanilla is from Tahiti and our cocoa is from Ecuador. So we're trying to get the highest quality ingredient as well. But we do everything that we can through the state as much to bring money back into the state.
Absolutely.
But for example, so we had a friend who does graphic design who, with Kate's marketing help, designed our truck. And when I saw it, it just exceeded every expectation that I had.
Sure,
It's one of those moments where you're like, oh, it's going to be cute and it's
Right.
going to look good and
Right.
it's going to, I like the design, but seeing it is that look at it like, oh my gosh, we got something. I thanked him so profusely and wanted to pay him more than we'd agreed to. We just couldn't afford to. But,
Right.
you know, I was just so happy with the final product that I think an overwhelming sense of pride kind of filled me of just like, that's ours. Like that is ours. That is something that we designed and thought of and created, and every aspect of it. Yeah, and it's real. It's like a 3D print from your brain. It was really, really amazing and really, really satisfying.
It's just great. But why did you guys have this concept of a gluten-free vegan bakery? Because that's not necessarily an easy concept for people to wrap their minds around, thinking that this is going to be tasty food. So I want to hear about that.
Right. So that's why we're not called the gluten-free vegan bakery truck.
I want to hear about it.
We don't want to tell those people.
I love it. I love that.
So one thing, when we worked at the bakery that we worked at before, the gluten-free vegan stuff was always the stuff that sold the most. And we noticed that if anyone came in and they were gluten-free or vegan and all we had was gluten-free vegan, they would say, oh, that's fine.
Absolutely.
You know, people who are gluten-free or people who have a dietary restriction don't really get that freaked out by other dietary restrictions.
They do not.
It's people that have zero dietary restrictions that think it's going to be gross.
I agree with you.
So our pitch is that no one that works at the bakery truck is gluten-free or vegan.
Right. No one.
At all.
None of us.
We make the stuff that we want to eat. We make our favorite foods. And it just happens to be that we have a market that is the largest market we can have because everyone can eat our stuff. It's one of those things that it's great to be able to see people who have dietary restrictions be able to enjoy our food, enjoy food on a level that people who don't have dietary restrictions can enjoy them. Also makes it easier if you have a party, if you have a school function, if you have something that you have to go to that you have to bring food to. If you bring our food, everyone can enjoy it.
I believe that.
It's really about inclusion for us. You know, we figured out a long time ago that just because something has a restriction on it doesn't mean it has to not taste good.
Correct.
We could make something that tastes as good, if not better, than something else that you would buy from any other store that also just happens to be gluten-free and vegan with no white sugar.
Right.
Like, you know, we can do that. We can do that for people, and we can bring it to them at a good cost.
Absolutely.
That was a big thing for me as our financier, and I actually do all the baking as well.
Right.
So something I figured out a long time ago is the reason you go to so many of these different places and they have an option. They have a gluten-free option or a vegan option. Right. And usually it's not very good.
Correct.
But it's an option. They're supplying that demand, that market, so they can, and really most of them are doing it to quiet the vegan, to quiet the gluten-free, the celiac.
Right.
We're not doing that. We don't want to do that.
But you're not trying to placate someone. You're trying to give them good, quality, virtuous food.
Absolutely. And what we're also trying to show is that, like, if you're buying your goods extra, like, yes, if you're tacking on gluten-free and vegan items to your grocery shopping list, and you already supply 90% of your food from a normal aspect, then yes, it's going to be a much higher cost for you.
Yes.
Especially because you're buying small quantities.
Right.
But if you're buying everything that you do that's considerate of gluten-free and vegan lifestyles, it actually is just as much, like just the same margin, if not cheaper, because our products don't spoil.
Correct.
Our shelf life is incredible.
And your products sell.
Yes.
That's the great thing.
Yes.
So they don't really need a long shelf life because you know they're going to go that day.
Right. But I mean, our refrigerator storage, our dry storage, that stuff, like, we don't have eggs. We don't have milk.
Right.
It's not something that's going to spoil in 2 weeks if we don't use it. So then our pocket hurts because we didn't produce as much as we thought we were going to. And then all of a sudden our business model doesn't work.
Absolutely.
So we really cut a lot of corners for ourselves that other businesses struggle with. And I think a lot of that is just due to our repetitious conversations about how do we do this better? How do we do this smarter? I think Kate should probably speak to some of that, because Kate had a big idea. I, of course, wanted to come from a financial standpoint. Right. She wanted to come from an environmental standpoint.
I think that's a great mix, though, when you're thinking about the consistency of leaving your footprint to be less basically on the planet, by using less plastic, using things that are not really good for the planet, not using a lot of dyes or preservatives in your foods. Right. I mean, all these things are very important. They really are.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's a part of your business model.
Yeah. The other thing about our truck, so in keeping with the gluten-free aspect of it, what we really wanted to do with the gluten-free part is we wanted to be 100% celiac safe, because a lot of places will produce a gluten-free thing. And sure, if you have a gluten insensitivity or a gluten sensitivity, sure, that's going to be great for you.
Right.
But if you're true celiac and you can't have any
Nothing
speck of wheat or anything touch your food, you can't go to those places and really trust them.
Right.
So what we did is we found a commercial kitchen that is 100% gluten-free. It's certified celiac safe. Like, we are completely safe for that. And in making stuff out of the commercial kitchen, our truck is actually solar powered while we're parked.
Which is fantastic.
So all of our lights, our music, anytime that you come up to the truck where we're parked, anything that you see,
That's
our
great.
register that we're running off of is all solar powered. We have 4 solar panels on the roof. We have room for 4 more. So
I think it's
in
great.
the future, we'll hopefully expand
That'll
a
happen.
little bit.
You'll
But
expand.
yeah, and it enabled us to, be able to, another aspect of the truck, another selling point
This
of
is
the truck
true.
is that we're also able to be a lot more environmentally friendly, because we don't have to turn on the electricity for an entire place every single day and waste all that energy. And then in using with the ingredients that we use, the other part of our baking is that we use the least amount of ingredients possible. All of our baked goods are around 10 or so ingredients. We try to keep it as
Minimal.
You don't need a bunch of filler. You don't need to buy a bunch of
No.
things. You don't need egg replacer. You can just use organic applesauce. You can use familiar ingredients that those people that are like, oh, it's going to be gross, are actually familiar with.
Exactly.
And you can just,
what I love about everything that you said is the real simplicity of the bakery truck. I mean, it's really like, to me, boots to the ground. Hey, this is great quality product. If you want gluten, vegan food, great. If you just want great food, better, because that's really about you're really appealing to everyone, not just the gluten-free person, but to everybody. And I think that's great. It really is.
Yeah, the goal is inclusion.
I mean, that's kind of the one thing. I don't know if you're familiar with Beyond Burgers. Beyond.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you know how they contractually have to be in the meat section of the grocery store to trying to trick those people? Because the people that are looking for it are going to find it.
I've heard people say that. Right.
But the people that aren't necessarily looking for it might just accidentally pick it up and not know the difference. And so that's kind of the business model that we're trying to do is, we're just a cookie truck. But if you read on the side of the truck, you'll know that it's gluten-free vegan.
You see, the great thing, I think, because I'm sure the taste is so amazing, that will bring them in.
Yes.
I think, see, one thing about being what I call a commercial bakery is you may not have these options for the vegan and gluten. If you do, the taste is not often the best. For yourself, your overall arc is, as Nick said really well, inclusivity. Everybody in, it happens to be gluten and vegan, it's spectacular, I'll be back.
Yes.
It's not like, it's gluten vegan, I don't want to try that.
So many people look at, and I'm trying to change this mindset. Maybe you can help me.
I'll do my best.
So many people look at gluten-free vegan baked goods and think, oh, that's specialty baked goods.
Yes.
They're specialty products. They're for gluten-free vegans. That is completely false.
Of course.
Ralph's and Vons make specialty baked
they
goods.
do.
They make special baked goods that only certain people can eat.
Yes.
Like only people that have no dietary restrictions can eat those things. Those are specialty.
Correct.
Ours are not specialty. They're for
Everybody.
You have to just switch that completely in your mind.
I love that, and I think that has to be really a part of your motto and business plan, because that really is it. This is for, and the word you use so wisely, inclusivity. Everybody. If you want great food, hey, we're the place. You want great baked goods, we're the place. I think it would be great to have you guys at at parties.
Yes.
I think in my mind, I was just seeing you guys right next to an In-N-Out burger truck at some big fancy party. I think you have so much to offer, and I think the growth of your business model is really one that has great sustainability. It really does, because you're coming from a place of authentic truth, of helping the environment, providing great services and great food, and having a sustainable business model. I think it's great. I want to share something with you too. So Nick was working at a bakery that I went into one day, and we started talking. And I'll let you talk about that, Nick, about us and what you said and how we started talking about this idea you had.
Well, I mean, I think we were just talking I
remember the exact conversation.
You'll have to help me then.
So,
but,
okay,
but,
so I'll let you tell them
but
what
I
you
think
think.
from what I remember, something that we got excited, I think, with each other, just talking about kind of the goodness that can go into a business, the good that a business can do.
Absolutely.
That a small business in the right environment can grow a community, can bring together a community, and can kind of inspire people to be kind to one another.
Right.
There is a beauty in providing something to someone that makes them happy.
Yeah.
And if you can do that while also being happy,
Correct.
then you can kind of foster this really amazing trend where it begets itself.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you've got a relationship with somebody that you
Correct.
never would have known,
Right.
who knows you and you know them, even if it's brief, even if it's
Right.
base,
Right.
you're still communicating truthfully with
Right.
another person, and you're providing something that brings joy, and it brings joy to you when you see them happy.
Correct.
Brings joy to them that you're providing the service,
Right.
and then they're telling other people, and so that joy can grow, and before you know it, you have a thriving business that's truly based in helping people
Absolutely.
and being happy.
Absolutely.
And I know Kate's meeting with someone later in the week to talk to them because they have an idea that they're excited about, and they want to know what we did, and they want to know how we got to where we got. And, we're happy to do those kinds of things. We did a charity event a couple of weeks ago that we were really excited to be at because it was Seth Rogen's charity that is an Alzheimer's charity.
Right.
And so we're excited to do more and more things like that, private parties,
Right.
School functions, all these different things, because not only can we provide something that people want and need, but we have a great product.
Right.
We have a great business that we can stand behind and be proud of in every aspect, because that's part of what we worked for, is to be able to stand behind every choice that we've made.
Right.
So that, at the end of the day, no one can come to us and say, well, you're not doing this. Like, no, we are.
Right.
We are doing that. We are considering that. I mean, we have all of our packaging, even down to the label, is in compostable plastic.
Right.
We are in no way trying to negatively affect any
environment.
part of the business as it is and as it thrives. We really, truly want to provide people with something that they're gonna love and enjoy. And I think the more we do that, the more opportunities grow for businesses to inspire people to do whatever they're passionate about.
I agree with
But
that.
you'll have to help me to remember exactly what we spoke about that
That was
day.
a great answer. I knew you didn't remember, but that's fine. That was a long answer.
Yeah,
It was
right,
great.
right. Oh.
It was nothing.
I pontificate for sure.
Now,
Woo.
let me tell you, it was really fun. So let me tell you, so I went in there, Kate, multiple times. The bakery that's right where I live in the valley, and so Nick was there. It's like the fourth time I'd seen him there. We were talking, and then I asked him. I said, "Oh, why do you like working here?" He said, well. He looked at my name thing, had Dr. Levi, and he said, "Oh, Dr. Levi, I just like working with people. I like being here. I think I have a lot of ideas." I said, "Well, I bet you do too." I said, "You ever thought about doing something yourself?" And he said to me, "I thought about it." Almost resistant. I said, "You should think about that." I said, "I bet you have the creativity, the mindset, and the brilliance to do that."
That's right.
And he said, "Oh, you think so?" I said, "I think you're smart." I said, "Every time I come in here, you speak, you're very respectful, you seem like you like what you do." I said, "So why not own yourself?" I said, "Do it for yourself." He said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna think about that."
That's so true.
And then look, and then after that, I said, "Okay, well, take care." And he said, "Oh, and by the way, I'm in a play if you want to come and see me in a play." So I said, "Sure, I'll come there. I'll be there."
And he did. He did. He came to the
actually came to the
play.
play.
Yeah.
So that's how that came about, because I remember just telling him really clearly that if you have a dream and if you think you're good enough to provide your services for someone else, well, are you good enough to provide those services for yourself and for other people, and own yourself? I think that's important. Own all your intellectual property rights. Own everything. It's about you. It's about your brand, about your name. You have to safeguard that, because people will trash your name. They will trash your reputation. So you can always own yourself completely and totally at almost all costs. I think that's important.
That's cool.
Now,
That was way better than what you said.
It was, right?
but I remembered.
Yeah.
But he still gave a great answer.
You did.
I mean,
It was
he's
good.
such an eloquent speaker,
Oh, thank you.
Hold that right.
Absolutely. So, how can people reach you guys? What's your Facebook, your Twitter, your all those social media platforms you have?
It's funny because with a lot of this business, we've kind of looked at each other and been like, nobody's thought of this yet. We're the bakery truck. It's
exactly
the
right.
bakery truck on Instagram, on Facebook,
Fantastic.
on Twitter. We got the bakery truck.
Is
our
that
handle
amazing?
for everything.
Yeah.
I don't know
It was
how
meant
it was
for you.
Yeah.
It was.
We
It
spent
was
so
meant for
much
you.
time trying to come up with a name, and Kate was like, I really want to keep it simple. She's like, I really want it to be really simple.
I actually remember what I did. On the first sheet of paper, this is going back.
Yes.
When we were first writing out the idea, I just at the top wrote the bakery, and I was writing the stuff.
Just like that?
And like
Really?
Yes.
a couple weeks later, I was going back and I was looking through, and I was like, what are we going to call it? And I saw the bakery at the top, and I just wrote truck afterwards, and I was like, oh my God, that's it, isn't it?
Right. How did you feel when you looked up the URL and saw it was actually
Yeah.
available?
Yeah.
You must have been blown
the
away.
business name was available. The URL, we're the bakery truck LA.
That's still fantastic.
But still, everything else is just the bakery truck if you look for us.
It was meant to be.
It was.
I all I can say is I wish you all much success, and let me know later how I can invest. I'd like to put some money in there and say, hey, I'm a part of your growth. I think you have a great business model that's sustainable, that will help people. And like I said, the great thing about a truck, you can go to graduations, parties everywhere. You can be outside the Vanity Fair party, anywhere. You have options because you have mobility. So, but I think your products, your philosophy, your truths, they're really great. And I hope you remain unwavering in those, because I think in authenticity, no one can knock you for that. As long as you're being your best authentic you, what other people think doesn't really matter. That's what they think. Those people you have to say, just get a life.
Yeah.
When you're talking about me, why don't you go find yourself?
Yeah.
Think about
that's
it.
true.
It's really easy. Now, what about how do you want people to reach you guys personally on anything like your Facebook pages, your Instagram pages, or you want them to go directly to the bakery truck?
The
We'll do it
bakery,
how you
I mean,
want.
I honestly have no time to look at my own social media.
I know about that myself. Trust me.
But
I
we
get
do
it.
check,
Go through the
all
bakery
the.
truck. Yeah.
So you
Oh, we
All of
check
the
the
bakery
bakery
truck
truck,
stuff,
like the
yeah.
bakery truck
I'm
on the
Instagram
website.
most
Fantastic.
of the day.
Fantastic.
The website has
Fantastic.
an email option,
Yes.
and we read that every day.
Fantastic.
So.
That's great then.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is lots of good things are coming your way. Get ready for it, and just make it happen. Keep doing the work. In the end, you enjoy the success of it all, because then you did it. It wasn't like, oh, let's maybe think. No, you did the work. So thank you so much, Kate. Thank you, Nick. You guys are on your way. That's all I can say. So it's great to talk to the Bakery Truck. Look them up online on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You guys have a YouTube channel?
Not yet.
It's coming, though.
It's coming though.
YouTube channel is coming, as well as their book within the next year or two. What about a truck?
What about a truck?
So this is Dr. Levi. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Please, please, please check out the Bakery Truck. And I was thinking, I hope you guys do some things like mystery truck, like where you're going to be located at certain dates, certain times, because that's always a big fan base draw in LA, having, hey, we're going to let you know where we are in the next hour, and hey, come and get a free piece of something, because I know you guys have great products. So please check out the Bakery Truck. Great people, great product, just a great philosophy. So this is Dr. Levi. Have a great day. Remember, be kind to the veterans. Those women and men are great heroes, and they should be respected, loved, and treated with kindness. And also, go out and be the best version of yourself. Have a great week. I'll see you soon. It's Dr. Levi. Bye.